Live from Times Square, it's Pop Recovery Systems, led by visionary Laura Alexis. Pop Recovery Systems, redefining surgical recovery, with bariatric expert Dr. Eric Smith. Innovating surgical preparation and recovery, Pop Recovery Systems blends nutrition, mental health, and wellness.
Breaking through the noise and changing an industry. Join Laura Alexis and Dr. Eric Smith on the Pop Culture Podcast.
I wonder what you looked like when you were a kid. I want to see a picture of you when you were a kid next time I see you. Because I feel like you might have had this area always. Did you have chunky cheeks?
I was like 9 pounds and 3 ounces when I was born.
What?
Yeah.
Good night. Oh my gosh.
When Anna threw my surprise birthday party, when I turned 30 this year,
I remember I sang the song on that one.
You did. You did very good. That meant a lot. But she had pictures of all ages that she got from my parents. She had them on like cups and all sorts of stuff. I don't know. I had hair at one point.
Yeah, I'm so proud of you for letting your hair go. I think that sometimes you just have to embrace the baldness. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah. Like I never, when I was in high school, I had a little bit of a receding hairline, like widow's peak. And my friends would tease me, like just guys, guys are brutal to each other, but it never really bothered me that much.
Yeah.
I think in medical school, I probably shouldn't say this, but we were studying for a test. And one of my buddies was like, let's just shave your head. So I shaved it. I didn't shave it to the skin. And then I'm like, man, this is so much easier. And I don't think I started shaving it with a razor until I was in residency. And it's just so much easier. I've shaved my head. Nope. I shave it every morning in the shower with a razor against the grain because I want it to be smooth. I mean, if people see stuff on social media, I get questions all the time. Why don't you have a hat on? They don't make me wear a hat. I shave my head every single day. We got this lady that works in my OR. Her name is Susan. She's awesome. She's been there forever. Susan's in her probably mid to late 60s, and she runs the board in our OR. And so finally one day I said, Susan, why do you all make me wear a cap? Like I'm bald, and it's not like there's not even stubble there. And she said, I tell you what, I'm going to rub your head every morning you come to work. And if it's smooth, you don't have to wear a cap. But if it's rough at all, you have to wear a cap. And this went on for about a week and a half. And finally I said, Susan, we're going to go down to HR because this is becoming a problem. And she just laughed and she said, okay.
Yeah.
But I mean, every once in a while, some people are like, that's so inappropriate. Well, there's nothing on there. But
sometimes
it's never bothered me. I've got a round head though. I'm lucky I don't have a big lumpy head.
I've seen sometimes where this part will stick out for other surgeons, like even under the cap, where their sideburns are out, I think I've even seen surgeons with facial hair, right?
Yeah, there are beard covers. Now, I sit over at the robotic console, but there are beard covers. To be honest with you, there's a lot of controversy about how much those really matter. Some of the rules in the OR are not based on data. They're based on belief, and we'll leave it at that. But
so have you heard about, I know you wouldn't need this because the way you do your robotic surgery, but have you heard about those skeleton suits that some surgeons are wearing?
Keep them cool?
No. Like to help their posture and stuff.
Oh, yeah.
Support them
I saw one of the plastic surgeons had that on.
Yeah. What's up with that? Do you know anything about it?
I don't know anything about it. I saw that and then I did a little research on it because I was just very intrigued. But that's one of the many positives of robotics is the ergonomics. To sit at a console and I adjust it to my body.
The what?
The ergonomics.
The ergonomics. All right, come on. Let's have a definition session. What in the world does that mean?
Why don't you Google? I know you have your phone in front of you because you don't walk anywhere without it. So Google ergonomics. Let's see what the actual definition
Google
of
it,
ergonomics.
I have to know how to spell it.
ERG.
ERG.
ON.
Oh, wait, it did it. It did it for me. Okay, ergonomics definition.
Mm-hmm. What's it say?
Ergonomics is the scientific study of how people interact with their work environments, equipment, and tasks in order to optimize comfort, safety, efficiency, and productivity.
Yeah.
The goal of ergonomics is to design tools, systems, and workplaces that align with human capabilities and limitations, reducing the risk of injury, fatigue, and discomfort while enhancing overall performance. Is that why you sit down?
Well, so, people can get carpal tunnel from doing a lot of typing. People get chronic back pain. Laparoscopic surgeons developed a lot as laparoscopy started to increase, and we were standing, and laparoscopy used to take longer at first until people learned better techniques. And you're fighting, people were getting chronic shoulder pains and rotator cuff injuries and cervical disc disease and low back pain. So for us, we sit down and we adjust this to us. Like there's a setting with my name that adjusts the height and the headpiece that comes over from, the view box for me to look into and all these things. And so I'm operating on patients who have very difficult body habitus. They've got really thick abdominal walls. They're overweight. And I don't have to fight all that tension. I can sit in a comfortable position because if we fatigue, obviously, if I asked you to do 100 push-ups and then I asked you to write your name 20 times, I promise you your signature would be very shaky because of the muscular fatigue, right?
Right.
So if surgeons are doing multiple surgeries in a day and they have a lot of muscular fatigue, number one, they may cut corners. They may not be as precise. So when I walk out of the operating room after doing a day of 8 to 10 robotic bariatric surgeries, I feel the same as I did when I came in that morning as far as physically. You're always a little mentally tired, if you have a challenging case. But so, that has been one of the pluses of robotics. And I've had lots of surgeons later in their career come to me and say, all right, I got to learn this. I need you to help me because I don't think my back or shoulders will let me work much longer. And we truly believe it's going to extend careers. What?
I'm just having a squirrel moment. But didn't you just have a huge milestone in your career?
I did.
Tell me what it is.
We've definitely got to get a higher budget for professional music on this show.
You have surpassed
5,000 robotic cases.
5,000 robotic cases. Look at you with your little, I'm so humble smirk. And then that is the most robotic cases in the United States.
Yeah.
That is insane.
Yeah, there's probably some urologists out there because they started robotics and was one of the first specialties. So any surgeon, there's probably a handful of surgeons, but it's a big number.
Yeah.
But yeah, as far as my specialty, it's
that's
most.
A lot of lives. And I think I saw, I don't know how many pounds. How many pounds was it? Do you remember?
It was like over 600,000. If you take the average percentage of weight loss. When we totaled the minutes, I think I've spent a half of a year at a robotic console.
3,157 hours and 58 minutes. Woo!
Oh, wait. No, that's way off. So how many hours?
3,000. That's what I said, right?
Yeah, that might be right.
3,157 hours. So if you take 3,157 times 60 minutes, that's 189,420 minutes, 478 minutes, 189,470.
How many hours are in a month?
How many hours are in a
So
month?
24 hours times 30.
Times 30 is 720.
And how many? 720?
Yeah.
All right.
So
and how many hours did I do?
189,000 by 720. That's 262 months.
You didn't do the math right, I don't think.
All right. What you mean? I didn't do the math.
So
right.
how many hours are in a month?
That's
30 times 24
times 30. That's 720.
720. And I spent, so divide the total hours on there by 720. And that should tell us how many months.
Hours. All right, hours. Okay.
The 3,000 some.
720. 4.3.
Okay. So 4.5 to 5 months straight that I would have sat at the console. It's a long time.
Is that what that is?
Yeah.
Wow. That's a lot.
Yeah. It is a lot. It is a lot.
How many more you think you have in you?
Man, one of the intuitive people sent me a message and congratulated me and said, count down to 10,000. And I started thinking I do about 500 cases a year. So to do 5,000 more, I got to do 10 more years. 10 more years.
Oh,
I'll do 1,000 every 2 years.
We're going to have you retired by then.
I hope you have me retired by then.
That's the goal.
I still want to operate. I don't want to do that much.
I know
but
you love it.
I love to operate.
I know
I love to do it. Yeah, no, it's really cool. And I'm proud of it. But I think if anything, I just want to inspire other surgeons to want to hit that, to want to go after it. I don't ever want to send the message that I think I'm better than somebody else. It's just really kind of kudos to all the hard work. There's a lot of time and effort put into it and commitment to patients. And, there was a lady that responded and she said, your first assist must be exhausted. And, it made me realize, I was glad she said that because there's so many people that are involved in that.
Yeah, exactly.
The anesthesia, the staff in the OR, in field, all the people in my office that process these people to get to surgery. I mean, it truly is a labor of love by lots and lots of people.
Well, we're super proud of you. And
thank you.
That's awesome.
Thank you.
So you were in the news this week, speaking as the medical director of bariatric surgery for POP in Newsweek. Whoop, whoop.
Yeah.
I was
very cool.
Yes, I love to see that. Like 65 million viewers or something like that. Mm-hmm. And what were you guys talking about? Something about the GLP1 medication, but what specifically? I think it was, would it be covered by Medicare, or there's someone talking about it being covered by Medicare? Was that the article?
Right. So there's been a lot of discussion recently. It's always interesting when administrations change, especially when they change parties, and there's that as they're heading out the door, they do things. I'm not saying that's a bad thing, but it's the last part of their term, mm-hmm. Any work that wants to be done or anything like that. So the current administration has made a proposal, and I don't know what level it's at right now, but they want the Ozempics of the world. Ozempic gets used a lot, but all the medications, the GLPs and the Zepatides or Mounjaros, things like that, Zepbold, to be covered, or Zepbound, sorry. So they want it to be covered by government payers or Medicare. Mm-hmm. I believe, and now it'd be up to the states if Medicaid covered it, but they want Medicare to cover these medications. So I think at first glance, they're like, wow, that's great. These medicines are really expensive. Everybody should have access to these medications because obesity is, in my opinion, the worst epidemic we've ever seen in this country. And that's taken into account what went on 4 years ago. But, it's deeper than that. And I think that's really what the article was about is just saying, is this a good thing that it will be covered? Is it needed? Do we need this to happen? And, what's the details involved of doing it, I think, the right way? That's going to be the important question. Yeah. It sounds really nice that we say medication for all. Right. But we can't just stop there. And that's really what in these articles, there's only so much room they have to write these articles. We talked about a lot, and it all didn't get included. And that's not a criticism. It's just there's only so much room in an article. But there's some things that need to happen the right way for this to be a good idea, in my opinion.
Yeah. what are some of the things that need to happen the right way? The first thing that I kind of think about from an outside view is like, how are we going to know that this is the right tool for that person experiencing obesity to start their weight loss journey? Because there are other tools out there that some would say, even Moshe said it on our podcast, that he felt like were better. Like for him, he felt like his sleeve was better. But so how, and it boggles my mind that there are still places that don't cover bariatric surgery, but now they want to cover
medications.
Medication.
Right. And again, we have to remember it's state and it's federal. So, you know, Medicare does cover bariatric surgery. Okay. So to give them credit for that, Medicare does. Okay. But really, if we're gonna mandate something on the federal level, why would we not mandate it on the state level too? Right. Because there's lots of people who don't have Medicare, but they have Medicaid. Well, why should Medicare be qualified for it and not Medicaid? Right.
So who gets Medicare and who gets Medicaid?
Oh man, you're getting in really deep right now. But
well, just tell me, like, you have to be in the military or something, or in a federal job.
Medicare typically is for people above a certain age. Okay. And then it may also be if they are disabled. Okay. Or other reasons why they would qualify for Medicare. Medicaid is typically going to be what their financial circumstances are. So if someone's on a state Medicaid program, okay, then they would qualify for Medicaid coverage, where maybe they don't have a job and they don't have insurance provided, or based on how much money they make, things like that. Please, nobody quote me perfectly on this. I'm giving the very generic summary.
Don't take tidbits and make your own.
Yeah, but you're right. There should be multiple options. And we don't know the long-term outcomes of medications anywhere close to we do surgery. And I'm not here to say surgery is better or the meds are bad, surgery's good. Right. But right now, we know what surgery does long-term. We don't know what that does, what meds do long-term. We also know that what surgery does in the short term, that the meds have been followed, surgery is superior. Okay. So here is, man, we could go in so many directions, but let me give you a hypothetical scenario. You know me, I love analogies.
Yeah.
Let's imagine that, we decided that we wanted to invest all this money, millions and billions of dollars, in lung cancer research. Okay. Treating lung cancer, resecting lung cancer, making sure everybody had coverage for lung cancer, all this other stuff. Would that impact the rates of lung cancer?
No.
It might impact the mortality of lung cancer.
Yeah.
Years ago, when they went after the tobacco companies, and they went hard after the tobacco companies, and they exposed the tobacco companies about the addictive nature, the harmful effects of tobacco. Look in history, lung cancer rates from that point forward dropped tremendously. Now, we still need to treat the disease that is present. We still need to treat the people who choose to smoke. I mean, that's their choice. Yeah. I wish they would stop, but we're not going to say, well, you made a bad decision, we're not going to treat you. Here we go again, talking about being judged by your worst decision. Right. But the way we change a disease and the pattern of a disease and take a disease prevalence and make it less is by getting to the root of the problem, not just putting a Band-Aid on it, or not just coming up with a treatment for it. If they're going to approve the drugs, but they're going to do nothing about education, they're going to do nothing about mental health support and truly helping people navigate their journey as to why they're gravitating towards foods, how it's played a role in their life and behavior. They're not going to invest in access or basic education for exercise, and they're not going to dig deep into our food system right now and find ways that everybody, whether they're the poorest of the poor or the richest of the rich, can afford healthy, nutritious foods that are non-addictive, then all they're doing is putting money in the pharmacy, in Big Pharma's pocket.
Yeah.
All they're doing is saying, let's keep this disease prevalent. We'll let you treat it, but we're not going to get to the bottom of how it started. And Big Pharma is just out there licking their chops because the meds will always have to be there.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
20 years from now, if we don't change the system and we just treat it, the new people coming up are still going to get obese. You're not going to put somebody prophylactically at 12 years of age on a GLP.
Right.
Now, there is a lot of controversy of how this would be, if Medicare covers it. There are times when young people are on. Are they going to be covered by it too? That's a whole nother talk show.
Yeah.
But the point is it's a great idea, but we can't just, and we know, let's be honest, there's a lot of connections with government, Big Pharma. There's a lot of hands in everybody's pockets. And, you know, we have to be very careful that we're not creating business for Big Pharma that never ends.
Right. Well, because that could be one, right? I mean, a lot of the different things that I've seen is that you do have to stay on GLP-1 to continue to see the benefits unless you make those lifestyle changes.
And it's still very hard.
Exactly. And it's still very hard.
So there's people that sit on the FDA that also get money. The majority, over half of the people that sit on the FDA get money from big food.
What?
Think about that. So if I am determining a drug that should be given to the population, and I'm also financially tied to what I believe is one of the biggest problems with why obesity is such a problem, and that's big food, man, I'm just feeding myself.
Wow.
So, you know, Nestle came out and said they were going to come out with a GLP line of food. All these low-calorie foods, they're all ultra-processed foods.
Yeah.
There is so much data. If we can ever get people to allow us to get it out there, and we're getting there. You know, we recently had great conversations with Todd about the addictive properties of these foods. So, you know, when someone takes foods that are engineered, that have chemists to engineer something like a cheese puff that has very little density, that melts in your mouth very rapidly, that creates triggers in your brain that you want more because you feel so empty, and it has all these empty, worthless calories in them. Well, yeah, I could make a food that has that texture and consistency. It says it's low calorie, and man, but if I'm selling food, my job is to sell a lot of it.
Yeah.
So I think we have to be very, very careful. I'm not saying everyone's intention is bad, but I think it's very dangerous if we just say the drugs are approved for everybody and we do nothing else. We have to make sure the people prescribing the drugs are adequately trained on the drugs, on the dosing, on the side effects. You know, marijuana just got legalized in the state of Kentucky for medicinal purposes. I can't just write a script for it. If I wanted to write a prescription for it, I would have to do training, education, and treat the diseases that it's indicated for.
Right.
So we have, let's be honest, we have med-spas who've never, ever wanted to write a drug except for order Botox.
Right.
And now they're writing scripts left and right for GLPs. So why weren't they interested in treating obesity beforehand? Why weren't they interested in having programs to teach them how to eat right, exercise, or get them to a program somewhere else to make them healthier? We all know why. So again, they're going to be overprescribed if there's no system in place to make sure who should be writing these drugs.
Yeah.
And then we have to get to the bottom of the support of these drugs to make them work effectively.
Right.
I mean, the mental health aspect is so vital, and our food system is jacked up right now.
Yeah. I mean, I learned a lot from that conversation with Todd. I mean, about the 10,000 ingredients, and that's probably not even all of them. And it makes me sad because, you know, when you see, like, actually we were in the store the other day and Carlos wanted to get a big box of Fruit Loops. I was like, nope, we're not getting that. Not after the episode that I just watched. He was like, okay, you know, but it's like, yeah, the boxes were getting bigger and bigger and bigger because they're so addictive. And it's for him, he's a surfer. He doesn't deal with this, but like for me, I really feel that because there's certain times, you know, when you feel like you just eat a small thing and you blow up and then why is that? Why isn't it
Right.
metabolizing? And it feels like you don't have a chance. Like you're not given a fighting chance to be healthy, not only externally, but internally. And food is a big thing, just like how they talk about food addiction is so hard because it's something that you actually need. Well, what if the thing that you actually need is not good for you?
Right. It's hard. You can quit alcohol. You can quit drugs. You can't quit food. But here's what's interesting. We talk about food addictions, but I'm curious, how many are truly food addictions and how many of them are chemical addictions? Think about it. Because, just like Todd said, and I love when he says it, he's like, this isn't food. Some of the stuff is not food. And I think I have learned a lot just in the little bit of time I've spent with them on Food Fight side, and they've taught me so much. And, Todd alluded to it a little bit, but the farm bill. So you have a farmer, and the farmer's job is to provide for his or her family, right? They got to grow crops. They got to sell crops so they can grow more crops. Well, the government comes in and tells farmers that we'll subsidize you if you grow the crops we want you to grow. And it's all the products that they need for ultra-processed food, soy, corn, wheat, things like this. So that's why you go to – now, how in the world – think about this. Think about how you would make an Oreo. Like, what is an Oreo?
The vanilla one or the chocolate one?
Either one. But we could read the ingredients. There's a ton of ingredients, right? An Oreo doesn't come out of the ground. It doesn't come off of a tree.
Wait, you're about to talk bad about Oreos? Can we pick a different one?
No. Carlos is going to be like, you could get off the freaking podcast. You can't pick out anything in the grocery store. But seriously, so it's all manufactured.
Right.
Everything in that cookie is manufactured, and it takes science and chemicals to make that Oreo. Read the ingredients when we get off of here. Then you have to process the Oreo. You create the ingredients. You process the Oreo. You have to package it. You have to box it. You have to ship it. There's so many levels involved. Why is a package of a bunch of Oreos cheaper than a head of broccoli in some places, organic broccoli? Because the farmer just has to grow the broccoli, pick the broccoli, sell the broccoli. It's because the amount of farms that are being used for these products and these farmers are subsidized. I mean, you can't blame the farmer, but the farm bill is directly connected to that. And those are some other things that we have to get in touch with to figure out how can, I tell patients all the time, man, just try to eat as many things as you can that have one ingredient.
Yeah.
Eat an egg. Eat some chicken, eat some steak, eat some turkey, eat some bacon, but try to eat as many things as you can that doesn't have a long shelf life. It's hard though, especially for people on a fixed budget, when they can go to Taco Bell, not to pick on Taco Bell, but get a lot of substance for a small amount of money. So it's a multifaceted problem. There was a statement in the article that I hope people don't take the wrong way, because it almost alluded to the fact that I was saying all obesity can be prevented. And I'm not saying all obesity can be prevented. It's not 100% of our actions. But there's a lot of things that we're doing that we don't even know that we're doing.
Right.
Food that's been pushed upon us. I hope for the day that I lose my job as a bariatric surgeon. Not because I did something wrong, but because there's no more patients. I don't think that will happen in my career. But my point is I don't want to be part of a problem that we're just perpetuating. Right. And that's my fear if we cover the meds and cover the meds only.
Well, and why they're not having, that you can see so many different documentaries about the same subjects, even on things like Netflix. Mm-hmm. But like only every now and then do you see one about food. Everyone that ever comes out, I watch it, and it's always enlightening. But I think the last one I watched was a carnivore diet opposed to like a vegan diet or whatever. And it talked about your fat percentage compared to your muscle percentage and not just looking at weight loss. And I know you love that subject. Yeah. But I think that it's I also think that, and I might get in a little bit of trouble saying this, but I also think that if we made it more popular, like some of the most popular, influencers on their journeys, they're promoting products that don't just have one ingredient because it has helped them. But there is a point where you plateau because
Right.
of those certain things. And I have found in working in POP and just overlooking different patient studies and stuff like that, a lot of them come in from the accountability program because they say, I'm at a stall. I can't
Right.
lose any more weight. And when they break down their diet, it's because there's no whole foods in there. And so
Right.
as soon as they start eating whole foods and get out of that acidic, and then they start seeing the weight go down,
Right.
and I wish that would become more popular.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, you hate to say it, but a lot of these decisions are tied to the dollar.
Yeah.
I would love to see us be focused on tied to the dollar of lowering the care of healthcare cost and taking care of people who are really, really sick.
Yeah.
And we can save a lot of money if we have people that are healthier. But if you say, let's provide the medications, then what you've ensured to the pharmaceutical companies that make them is you have a guaranteed buyer.
Yeah.
Right. Can you imagine if we were selling T-shirts and we really want to make T-shirts that are cool, that people want? But you know what? If somebody came to us and said, I promise you, I'm going to buy 1 million from you every year. Sweet. I got a guaranteed buyer, right?
Might not have to be that cool.
Well, and I'm not saying that the meds aren't cool or the meds aren't good, but my point is you have a guaranteed buyer. But why is it hard to sell T-shirts? Because there's a limited pool of people with a limited amount of money. You have to make a product that's so superior to your competition to convince people to spend their own dollar to buy your product. When the government agrees to cover medications, I mean, there's this endless pool of money that they have that really isn't theirs because we're so far in debt. Right. And so the pharmaceutical companies are like, well, I don't care. I'm going to get it. You're going to pay me for it. So I have a guaranteed sell product. Now, that's okay. We have so many meds that have changed people's lives. I'm not picking on the pharmaceutical companies, but these other things that we talked about that are important, where's the dollar tied to? See, it's not really. It's spread out all over the place. Fitness, are they going to only pay one personal trainer? No. Are they going to give a subsidy for people to work out or an allowance? I don't know, but there's no special interest that benefits from that.
Yeah.
And that's why I think we struggle to break through with this. There's no special interest that someone's invested in mental health. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And so it becomes a very slippery slope. It's the reality of the way the world works. But I think as patients, we have to take initiative for ourselves. We have to invest in ourselves. So let's say tomorrow they say it's covered, but they don't take care of the other stuff. Then we have to find ways as patients to stand up for ourselves and invest in ourselves and make those other sacrifices on a streaming service or something else to maybe up our budget just a tiny little bit to invest in ourselves to coincide with what's being provided to us. It's the only thing that we can do.
Yeah, I mean, it definitely would open up the budget to be able to do the other things that have to go alongside of it. Not that should go alongside of it. It's a necessity that they go alongside it. So, I cannot think of, I think it's newsweek.com that we can read the full article. I will make sure it's linked in the caption. And I look forward to, reading more about the different topics that you're going to be talking about in 2025. Is there something in 2025 that you're most excited about in your world, the bariatric or healthcare world, or anything that you want to share?
I think for me, there has been so much attention brought to the disease of obesity because of the medications.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised if Time Magazine didn't put Ozempic on the front for the year of 2024.
I think they already did that. I think they already chose their person of the year.
But I don't mean a person of the year, but you know what I'm saying, the topic.
Oh yeah, topic. Oh yeah, okay.
But I think it's raised a lot of awareness. I think people who previously weren't speaking up for those that battle obesity and treating them like they do suffer from a disease, now people are doing that because maybe somebody, they now feel it's more acceptable to take a shot versus maybe having surgery. And that's all good because we have to raise awareness.
Yeah.
I hope moving forward, we see all these forms of treatment now that we're accepting more of this as being a true disease, that we see all forms of treatment being utilized and encouraged to truly treat the problem.
Yeah.
And again, like I've already said, I hope we see an emphasis on programs and process to make these treatments most effectively. I think that's why you and I are so passionate about POP, is because it truly is putting in place what can make these tools effective. And you and I have never met somebody that we've not said, this is what we do, that said, oh, that's not necessary.
No.
Sometimes they're not sure exactly how to make it work, who pays for it, how do we work it in, how do we cover it? But everybody agrees it's 1,000% needed. And so I hope we take that awareness and really stretch it across all treatment options for patients so they feel comfortable getting treated, and let's get them on path to being healthier.
Yeah, I agree. And I'm really excited about everything that we're working on with POP and that multidisciplinary approach to all kinds of transformations, including specifically, obesity, because I think Mom's been another, last 2 months, adding another, 900 steps just for the GLP1 for our patent. So it's going to be a big year in 2025, not only for the industry, but for the solution that has been missing for the last decades.
and like we just talked about, as far as making sure people giving the medications are doing it the right way. Hey, if there's physicians interested in using these medications, being able to give them our program and say, this ensures that even if you don't have the ability financially or space-wise to hire all these people to do this the right way, you can provide this to your patient, give them the medication, but give them all the tools to make them healthier. At the end of the day, almost all physicians just want to help people. We really, really do. Yeah. And that's what I think is exciting. I hope we see other doctors who didn't treat obesity before because they were so overwhelmed that they couldn't have all the resources to do it the right way. And now they can with what we do.
Yep. And I'm super excited for that. So we'll be linking more information in this episode. And of course, if you ever have questions, you can email info@poprecoverysystems.com. Thanks for joining us on this episode, Eric. It's always great to see you. And we'll see you next time on the Pop Culture Podcast.
All right. See you, baby.